Reacting to my pre-season predictions as part of the Sky Bet Fan Hope Survey, I made some big predictions at the start of the season, and some of them are absolutely embarrassing. I made some big calls about Arsenal, Liverpool, and of course, Manchester City, and even Aston Villa. An absolute shock prediction I made pre-season. Make sure you watch the whole video and let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I think City could actually improve next season. We've already seen this side get 100 points in the Premier League. Could we become invincible? That is absolutely shocking. That's what happens when you get to the Champions League final, you win the treble, everything's going your way. You actually think of things like the Invincibles, you start thinking of 4 in a row, you start thinking of a quadruple, which is obviously now impossible with the League Cup loss to Newcastle. That is, I'm going to have to give that a shocking rating of a 0 out of 10. That was absolutely crazy to think that Man City would come out of a treble winning campaign with more momentum, more energy, more motivation. Not to say the City players at the moment aren't motivated, aren't gassed with what is achievable, obviously, this season, the Club World Cup included. But to sort of say we could go on and be invincible and kind of have bigger targets than the treble is actually probably shows a little bit of naivety for myself, which I'm very rare to admit. I actually thought City would, I thought City would carry on playing with a lot more energy, a lot more movement. I thought the likes of Phil Foden and Alvarez would have slightly better seasons than they're having. I think Phil Foden's having an underrated season, but I think I saw his step straight into that Ilkay Gundogan role, straight into a David Silva level role. I don't think he has yet. I think there's been a lot of drop-offs from the likes of Ruben Diaz, John Stones. You're sat there at the start of season, everyone's fit. It hasn't been until 20th of December 2023 till all the Man City squad have been training together, fully fit, including De Bruyne. That hasn't happened since August. So I can see in this prediction why I thought we'd do so well, because we had a fully fit squad. De Bruyne started against Burnley only a couple of weeks after I made this video with Sky Bet. And suddenly, he's injured. Ruben Diaz has some awful form. And bang, we're not going to be invincible in the league. Obviously lost to Crystal Palace. So absolutely crazy. Just above Spurs, Aston Villa, they got a better manager, they got a better spine. Look at Mings, had a fantastic back end of last season. You think about Diego Carlos coming back, they got Pau Torres, and then that midfield Tielemans in there. Absolutely unbelievable. Wow, I got that spot on. But as you can see in the video, I put them 7th, which is very low for what they're competing for. I think 7th is a very good season for Aston Villa when I made this video, because getting into back-to-back European competitions, whether the Conference League or the Europa League, depending on the coefficient, etc. I think Aston Villa fans would have been gassed about that. Back-to-back seasons in Europe for the progress made after they were in a relegation situation with Steven Gerrard. Unai Emery's come in. He did sign Tielemans. He did sign Pau Torres. And Tyrone Mings has had a good time with Aston Villa since Unai Emery came in as well. But obviously my prediction looks ridiculous now because of how much better they are than 7th. There are people saying that they could win the Premier League. And we're halfway through the season. If anyone did a prediction video as part of the Sky Bet Fan Hope Survey saying that Aston Villa would win the league, they deserve all the riches in the world, because I didn't see Aston Villa being this good. I thought Pau Torres would take a little bit of time to settle in. Same with Diaby. I was never a huge fan of Leon Bailey. I thought he had glimpses of quality. Of course, glimpses. But the quality he showed, especially against Arsenal and Man City, it was the kind of form that Riyad Mahrez had against Liverpool, against Chelsea, against Man City, when Leicester City won the Premier League. So my prediction, a little bit way off in terms of position. I think I definitely rated some of the players they've signed, and always have rated Unai Emery. So it's a decent shout, but I'm way off it yet again, really. But if he gets that run, if he gets that opportunity that he deserves, even if he starts as a right winger this season and slowly blends into midfield, then I do think a big shout for player of the season next year will be Phil Foden. I think I got this wrong. I don't think that Phil Foden will get player of the year for Man City this season. I might be wrong. I think he's had an underrated season. He's popped up with a lot of goals this season. He's played well. He hasn't played badly. I think I was talking about a level of performance a little bit higher than he's been showing. And I don't think he's been trusted to play in midfield enough. When he has been played in midfield, he sometimes gets rotated. He's not playing alongside Kevin De Bruyne. Everyone would struggle if they're not playing with your best midfield options. I think he's probably struggling with the fact that Kovacic has come in and Mateus Nunes has come in. There's a bit of a confusion around the midfield situation for Phil Foden. So I think the prediction for Phil Foden being Man City Player of the Year, unless City win nothing this season, and he wins it out of being one of the better players in a trophyless season. But I don't see it working in that regard. I think he'll have a good season, but he's yet to kind of break through the mould halfway through this current season. I think he's a 30-40 kind of goal a season striker in his prime, and he's 23 years old. Haaland's made it look silly at that age category, but it's very, very hard to do. So I think Julian Alvarez has to be a dark horse that people really pay attention to next season. Yeah, that's me talking about Julian Alvarez. I think he has not had the season that I thought he was going to have as well. I don't think, again, he's having a bad season. But I think sometimes football fans look for breakout moments. Maybe first thing that comes to mind is Gareth Bale at Tottenham Hotspur, when he kind of was 1 minute at left back, next minute he was an athlete, and the next minute he was at Real Madrid scoring bicycle kicks. That breakthrough at a moment of kind of huge change that you see sometimes with a footballer who's young like Julian Alvarez is. I've not quite seen it yet. I think he's being played in a weird position. If he played in a front three with Doku, Alvarez, Phil Foden, for example, I think he'd blossom in 30 games. I think he's very similar to Gabby Jesus, but he's a better finisher. I think he's just as mobile. I think he's more mobile than Erling Haaland. But Haaland is being trusted in these big games still, and will be from now until the time he leaves the club. So Julian Alvarez isn't having that breakthrough season that I'm talking about in the same way. Not a bad season, but I think I'm a little bit wide of the mark with this one yet again. And we're going to finish with a freeze frame of my top three. How spot on was I? Man City, Arsenal, and Liverpool. And obviously, there's a lot to play for. And obviously, Man City aren't even in those positions at the moment. But for the last, 8 to 12 weeks, it's been a Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool debate with the media, with rival fans, with neutrals. City will be in the top three. There's no question about it. Games in hand as well, of course, with the Club World Cup games. Arsenal and Liverpool have looked like the sides that have been able to grab momentum in the Premier League and take it away from other clubs. I think it will be a three-horse race to win the Premier League. I think it's very close to 2012-13 when Brendan Rodgers and Mourinho and Pellegrini were all fighting for it, and Pellegrini came out top. So I think it's going to be very, very similar to that. And you're hoping that Arsenal and Liverpool can take points off each other as well. But I got that prediction 100% spot on. Make sure you check out the Sky Bet Fan Central over the festive period to check out what football fans really think about their clubs. The Sky Bet Fan Tracker has been in effect since the summer, and it's a great tool to find out how fans are thinking their club's season is going. Remember, Sky Bet is 18 plus, terms and conditions apply. And make sure when you use the Sky Bet Fan Hope survey, don't do it as badly as I have. Absolutely shocking.